People are asking in many super chats, and we just got one also, which says, I'd like to hear Spencer's thoughts on Patrick Little and his campaign strategy. Did you follow him at all?
I followed him a little bit here and there. I can actually talk about this. I did a video back in January on Paul Nehlen, and I basically said that if one is going to go into politics right now, one has to make a choice whether one is going to be a winning candidate or a visionary educational candidate. And so if I were to run for office, I would model what I do on the Ron Paul effort. That is, I would not have any great expectation to win, but I would try to educate people and be very inspiring, and use the debates, if I were to get in one, in order to talk about identity and race and so on. I would use that platform and just use it as an education candidate. Ron Paul did a great thing. Ron Paul funded the libertarian movement for a generation through his campaigns, and that's nothing to scoff at, even though he never came close to winning. If one wants to be a winning candidate, one really has to imbibe the bullshit and spit it out at the people. One has to reach them where they are. Now, one can push a little, as Trump did, talk about build the wall, maybe say it's okay to be white or a meme like that. But basically, one has to be a total douche, effectively, and just be a typical conservative goof if one wants to win. Now, would it be advantageous if we have someone who has, our heart, they believe in our ideals, but they're maybe even cynically or Machiavellian, willing to lie in that good sense of the word and get elected to office and then basically run cover for us, take our advice, work with us? That would be a great thing. I would no question support that. The problem that Nehlen and Little got into was that they presented themselves as, in a way, winning candidates, but then their educational or inspirational message was just way off, in my idea. I mean, Nehlen moved, at least on his Twitter feed, and I have a conspiracy about that. I think someone else was running his Twitter feed, because the Nehlen you would listen to on a radio interview and then the Nehlen on his Twitter feed were very different. But anyway, Nehlen's Twitter feed just became outrageous. I mean, it was like he was a shitlord from 2015. He was just posting really immature, just nonsense. And okay, it's funny, but you're not going to win. You just simply aren't going to win. And then what real education are you bringing? Are you actually red pilling people to this? And, I think Nehlen took the red pill, and it was too much for him. He some of us have been swallowing the red pill over the course of a lifetime. He just took it and just vomited up. I don't know the right metaphor. Little seemed to do a lot of the same things. He would just talk over and over and over again about Zionism, about Jewish supremacy, about the Jews. Okay, if you are trying to win, this is not the way to do it. And if you're trying to be an educational candidate, I think there's still problems there too. This kind of obsession. And Patrick Little was actually a former Christian Zionist. And so it's interesting that he had almost the zeal of the convert, that he once thought that they were the chosen people, and now he thinks they're devils. And so I'm giving him a good faith, fair criticism. I don't think he was that successful in inspiring people, and he obviously was not successful in winning. He was just focusing on these things too much. Now, I think Patrick Little, I've had a brief correspondence with him. I mean, nothing much of anything, but I do think he's a good faith actor. I think he's a genuine person. So he can learn from this. He can get better. I mean, I offer this criticism in good faith, but it just the candidacy didn't make sense. Now, just because I'm fair, he was doing something which I thought was absolutely brilliant, and was actually a lot more brilliant than what Nehlen was doing. Because I just wasn't. Nehlen had the do not censor law. That was good, but a lot of the propaganda I just did not think was great. But Patrick Little did this this outreach to minorities where he did a Asian digital flyer campaign where he was basically saying, you are getting crushed by affirmative action. It's anti-Asian. Vote for me and we'll kind of move forward. And he did some other thing. I think he actually talked to blacks. He said, we're gonna cease all aid to Israel and we are going to give it to you. What we would have given to Israel over the next decade, we are just going to give to you cash payments, call it reparations if you like. Now, it's kind of wacky, but I like it. I think it was actually a brilliant kind of outside the box, left, right, outreach. And so I actually think stuff like that, maybe it wasn't implemented properly, but stuff like that could be interesting in the future. I do think we need to get over a lot of these conservative hangups that so many people have. So anyway, that is my good faith criticism of Patrick Little, and then also some praise as well for some outside the box things that he tried that I think could be useful in a campaign going forward.
Absolutely. I think that you come at it from really a friendly advice perspective. And I think that you are right on point on your comments. And it's the choice of Patrick Little to take it or not take it. On my side, I will say that there is an educational value in exploring parts of the cognition of the audience that were not explored before. And in standing and being such an anti-Israel candidate, I think that he frames something new, at least new for the generation that's coming, which has never been exposed to these ideas. And to me, this is an educational contribution, which is he forced people to hear about a guy who steps on the flag of Israel and who says, we're not going to give any aid to this country. And there is something new, there is something shocking visually and very interesting.